Hollywood, the land of dreams, has always been shrouded in an aura of glamour and mystique. Behind the red carpets and dazzling lights, however, a darker side has long been whispered about. Recent events have brought these whispers to the forefront, shaking the entertainment industry to its core. High-profile arrests and shocking charges of sex trafficking have shattered the carefully crafted facades of some of Hollywood's biggest names. The world watched in disbelief as Sean Diddy Combs, a music mogul and cultural icon, was taken into custody. The charges against him were staggering: sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution-related offenses. These accusations painted a chilling picture of exploitation and abuse, implicating someone once considered untouchable. Diddy's arrest sent shockwaves through the industry and beyond. It forced a long-overdue conversation about the dark underbelly of power and privilege in Hollywood. The public grappled with the unsettling possibility that the rich and famous could be capable of such heinous acts. As the legal process unfolds, the world waits with bated breath. Will justice be served, or will the powerful find a way to evade accountability once again? One thing is certain: Hollywood will never be the same. The recent scandal involving Diddy is not an isolated incident. Rumors of exploitation and abuse have plagued Hollywood for decades. Whispers of casting couches and predatory behavior have circulated through the industry, often silenced by fear and intimidation. For years, aspiring actors and actresses have been warned about the dark side of Hollywood. Stories of powerful figures demanding sexual favors in exchange for career advancement have become part of the industry's grim folklore. Those who dared to speak out often found themselves blacklisted, their careers destroyed. The #MeToo movement, which exploded in 2017, brought to light the pervasiveness of sexual harassment and assault in Hollywood. Powerful figures like Harvey Weinstein were toppled from their pedestals as countless victims came forward with their stories. Diddy's arrest, however, suggests that the problem runs much deeper than harassment. It points to a systemic issue of exploitation, potentially involving organized criminal activity. The charges against him have exposed a sinister network that may have operated with impunity for far too long. Sean Diddy Combs, once a symbol of success and influence, now faces a very different reality. The charges against him are not mere allegations. They are backed by a mountain of evidence compiled by law enforcement. The indictment paints a disturbing picture of a sophisticated operation involving the trafficking of young women for sexual exploitation. Prosecutors allege that Diddy used his wealth and connections to lure vulnerable individuals into his orbit, promising them fame and fortune while subjecting them to horrific abuse. The charges of racketeering suggest that this was not simply a case of one man's deviant behavior. It points to a larger criminal enterprise, potentially involving a network of enablers and co-conspirators. The prosecution's case is bolstered by eyewitness accounts, financial records, and digital evidence. Prosecutors claim to have obtained text messages, emails, and social media posts that corroborate the victims' testimonies and implicate Diddy in the alleged crimes. In the wake of Diddy's arrest, a deafening silence fell over Hollywood. Many celebrities who had once considered him a friend and collaborator were conspicuously quiet, seemingly afraid to even utter his name. Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Usher, Justin Bieber, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Jennifer Lopez all remained silent, their social media accounts devoid of any mention of the scandal. The fear was palpable. Some, like Usher, went as far as deleting past social media posts that featured Diddy. It was as if they were trying to erase any connection to him, hoping to distance themselves from the scandal before it could tarnish their own reputations. This silence spoke volumes. Was it a sign of guilt by association, or were they simply afraid of becoming targets themselves? Whatever the reason, their silence was deafening, amplifying the public's sense of outrage and distrust. Section 5, Public Outrage, Demands for Justice and Accountability. The public's reaction to Diddy's arrest was swift and furious. Social media exploded with outrage, with many expressing disgust and disbelief at the allegations. The hashtag #Diddygate trended worldwide as people demanded justice for the alleged victims. This was not just about one man's alleged crimes, it was about a system that had allowed such behavior to flourish for far too long. The public's anger was fueled by a growing sense that the rich and powerful were above the law, able to operate with impunity while exploiting the vulnerable. There were calls for a boycott of Diddy's music and businesses. Protests were organized outside his homes and offices. People demanded accountability, not just from Diddy himself, but from the entire entertainment industry. The message was clear: Hollywood could no longer turn a blind eye to the exploitation and abuse that had festered in its midst. The time for silence was over. Section 6. The legal battlefield. Can justice prevail? The legal battle against Diddy promises to be long and arduous. His legal team, composed of some of the most high-priced attorneys in the country, is prepared to mount a vigorous defense. They have already begun to attack the credibility of the alleged victims, portraying them as opportunistic individuals seeking fame and fortune. They have also challenged the validity of the evidence, claiming it was obtained through illegal means. The prosecution, however, seems equally determined to see justice served. They have assembled a strong case built on eyewitness accounts, financial records, and digital evidence. They are confident that they can prove Diddy's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The outcome of this case remains uncertain. It will likely hinge on the credibility of the alleged victims and the strength of the evidence presented. The world is watching, waiting to see if justice will prevail or if the powerful will once again escape accountability. Section 7. Beyond the headlines. The human cost of exploitation. Lost in the headlines and legal wrangling is the human cost of these alleged crimes. The victims, often young and vulnerable individuals lured by promises of a better life, have been subjected to unimaginable trauma. Forced into sexual slavery, they have been robbed of their dignity, their freedom, and their sense of self. The physical and emotional scars they bear will likely haunt them for the rest of their lives. It is important to remember that these are not just statistics or names in a police report. They are real people with families, dreams, and aspirations. Their lives have been shattered by the greed and depravity of those who sought to exploit them. Section 8. A turning point. Will Hollywood ever be the same? The Diddy scandal has the potential to be a turning point for Hollywood. It has exposed the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry, revealing a culture of exploitation and abuse that can no longer be ignored. The public's outrage, coupled with the ongoing legal proceedings, has put immense pressure on Hollywood to address these issues head-on. Studios, agencies, and production companies are being forced to reevaluate their practices and implement safeguards to protect vulnerable individuals. This is a critical moment for the entertainment industry. It can choose to cling to the old ways, protecting its own and silencing dissent. Or it can embrace change, creating a safer and more equitable environment for everyone. Section 9. The fight continues. A call for transparency and change. The fight for justice and accountability in Hollywood is far from over. The Diddy case is just one example of a systemic problem that has plagued the entertainment industry for far too long. It is imperative that we continue to shine a light on these issues, demanding transparency and accountability from those in positions of power. We must support the brave individuals who come forward with their stories, ensuring that their voices are heard and their experiences are validated. We must also work to create a culture where exploitation and abuse are not tolerated. This requires a fundamental shift in the way we view power, privilege, and consent. It demands that we hold each other accountable, calling out inappropriate behavior and supporting those who have been harmed. The road ahead will not be easy, but the fight for a safer and more just Hollywood is one worth fighting. By working together, we can create an industry where everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered.